Hi, I'm Matt with VELUX Skylights, and this is Scott with Sunlight, and today we're going to work on a VELUX Sun Tunnel installation. When you're looking at doing a sun tunnel installation, you do have to take into account the orientation of the sun going over the home and the pitch of the roof to determine which style of flashing you're going to use. We're going to go ahead and open up and show you what comes in the kit and show you all the parts that should come with that VELUX Sun Tunnel. So we just opened up a TGR 10-inch sun tunnel, and Scott's going to go through the parts that should come in every single box.
All right, so first when you open the box, the flashing, all the parts are here. So this is an install kit. It's got directions in it. It has all the hardware, has enough tape to do a 6-foot tube, has the seal in it. Comes in every one of them just like that. The flashing is next. This is a TGR flashing. Again, the turret is the same height. It's flat like that. It has a top and a bottom, and why that's important, there's diverters here, so when the water's coming around, it helps push the water back towards the turret, so it's important to put the top at the top. This is called a pivot ring, so your top elbow will go in this, and this is neat. It goes in here like this, and you can help adjust the elbow with the pivot ring and the flashing. Next is the dome. This goes on top of the whole unit when you're done. This keeps the rain out and lets the sun in. It goes on top like that. Then there's elbows. Right, there's 2 of these. These will bend 45 degrees. They articulate in 2 places, and you just twist them whenever you figure out the angle you need. And after that's all done, all these joints will have clips in them and be taped. And then piece of tubing. So this is 24 inches long, and we'll show you in the install, but they clip together to make a continuous tunnel for the sun to come down. And then lastly is the diffuser, the part that goes in the ceiling. And this is what you'll see in the ceiling. It goes in like this, and it screws off. And this is your thermal break also, so this stops the hot air and the cold air in the attic from getting into your living space.
You do not want to discard the white part in here,
yes.
And it is a dual lens, so you have a second lens on top that is your diffuser. Make sure that stays with it so it does not fall out.
Right, yeah, and what that does, if you took this lens out, it's clear and the light has hot spots in it, where this is very nice blended light and it's more even. The white Mylar ring covers the screws that attach it to the ceiling. It's got old workbox spin outs. So when you tighten the screw, that spins out and pinches the sheetrock, and that's what holds it into the ceiling. So when you put that lens on it, you can't see these screws. It makes it a nice clean install. Yeah.
So Ryan's currently up cleaning out the installation, making sure the run's going to work, verifying that, so when you put this through, he's going to be able to say, we're good to go at that location.
Yeah, and what we use to mark tunnels, this is some people call them a tiger paw, cat's paw. It's a piece of carbon steel that you put insulation underneath the house with. So they come in 2 lengths. They'll come in 16-inch bays, which are really 14.5, and then they come in 24-inch pieces if your centers are that. They're made out of carbon steel. They're really nice and flexible. They're pointed, but when you stick it through the ceiling, it leaves a tiny pinhole. If you're by yourself, to mark a tunnel, right? It's hard to mark tunnels by yourself to find out where you are in the attic, but like you could pull the ring of this can light down and stick this wire next to it, and it would go up through the insulation, and then when you're in the attic, you could find it, and you go, there it is. It's something tangible, and then I go, okay, I want to be 18 inches to this side of it, and then I know where my tunnel is going to be without putting a mark downstairs. Because if you put a mark downstairs and then all of a sudden it doesn't work out because there's a gas line or a water line or the bay's not wide enough, then what are you going to do with that mark, right? So you got to think about what you're doing in a process so you don't create work, right? So we use for a trick this piece of wire, and we'll stick it next to a light. But since there's 2 of us today, Ryan's in the attic, I'm going to tap on the ceiling, he knows where I am. He's found the light, and he'll tell me in a second if it can go there, and if it can, then I'll stick the wire up, and then he'll confirm the measurements. He may have to move the center. This is going to mark the center of my tunnel. He may have to move it 1 inch or so, but that's how we mark them. All right. So this is where I stick the pin through.
So we're in the attic space above where we wanted to go in the hallway. I found his metal stay. I verify that the bay is empty, and that we're the right distance away from anything in the attic space, and that the attic is clear above me. After I do that, we use a measuring tape. And again, I do the same thing on the ceiling space, verify that the bay is empty and I'm even distances off the rafters. And then I'll mark that. We use an electrician's drill bit. Go in that same spot where I marked with the tape. And drill a hole out of the roof. And then much like the stay that's in the ceiling, the hole in the roof gives you something tangible to find on the roof deck for your flashing installation.
All right, so now we're gonna have Ryan with Sunflight is gonna show us how he installs his tubing as he's putting it down through. He's already measured from the attic space of what his length's gonna be, and Ryan, go ahead and show us how you like to assemble.
Sure, so we've unboxed the whole tunnel kit. We've got a pitch 14-inch flashing. I just take everything out of the box. For the person that's going on the roof, I take the flashing and separate it, put the dome with it, put the dome screws with the washers in there so they're easy to find. Then that's ready to go out of the way. I've got the pivot ring, and within the kit it comes with the fur gasket seal. I'll strip the liner off of the glue. You gotta kind of pay attention because part of it will stick to it. So I just verify as I pull it down. I pull it all the way off. It doesn't matter the weather. It's not that sticky. I'll pull it all off, throw it away in a box. And I grab the pivot ring. I face the inside of it towards me. And typically I'll start about 4 or 6 inches away from one of where the elbow snaps in the pivot ring. I'll start there and then work my way around the pivot ring. If you're doing a 10-inch tunnel, the gasket that comes with it is about 8 inches too long. So whenever I get all the way around to the other side, on the 14, it's the correct length. And I kind of just stay below where the tubing clips into the pivot ring. So then you end up lining up on a 10. You'll see we'll cut it off. So that's done. Then whenever I get to the first elbow, I take a razor blade, and on the seams I cut the next one, and then I take my blade and go on the inside of where it can pivot. I cut around, cut the other one, spin it, finish the circle, put my knife up, and then I pull these out, throw them away.
And you do not want to take that film out too early because what could happen?
You could start a fire. It's highly magnified.
So you wouldn't want to set them outside and take that off at the start. You want to take off the lining whenever you're putting it together.
Right. And the reason why I use a razor blade is that in the process of making the elbow, the plastic is actually behind the where they pivot at, and if you go pulling on it, you could damage the elbow. So it gives a little more rigidity to the elbow. But at this point, I set the elbow here, take the VELUX tape that comes with each kit, I'll pull off a little bit, and then I tape off the seams. The seams you can't get to after they're snapped in the elbow. I at least do the downhill, or the long side. The long side is what snaps into the elbow. So I'll do this. The 14 has 4 little open rectangles. Again, they snap into where you put your gasket seal. So typically I'll do the one straight across from me, and that allows me to push on the tunnel. And it snaps in, and you kind of just got to work your way around the tunnel. And it has a ledger that the tunnel bumps into, and each of these clips snap into it. And at this point, I'm ready to start building my sun tunnel. Each piece of tubing is 24 inches. On this particular install, it'll end up being 80 inches down and then 35 inches up. But again, you just catch a corner. I keep my fingers out of the inside of the sun tunnel because it's highly reflective. and oils off your hands get stuck to it or leave fingerprints. I'll reach in, pull this out, got the whole piece. Set this to the side. I only ever do one a piece because again, you could start a fire. I'll take the clips out of the bag. I know I need 4 clips right away, so I set 4 out. Typically what I'll do is I'll hold it in my hands just like this, set it on my leg. The clips, I always point them away from the seam, the U in the clip. It's just a habit, so I'll always clip the top one, hold it, flip it over, clip this one. And then you know your tunnel will stay together. I take my hand, put it in the middle of the sun tunnel, and again, keep my clips going the same direction. At this point, the piece of tubing is together. I'll take it. You could scrunch it, but I always pull it apart. And then whenever I do it, you never line up your seams. So you have your seam of your tubing, seam of your elbow. You can see the rectangle where they line up. So I'll line it up there. Always do the one that's closest to me first. And again, I keep my U's away from the seams. On the elbow, I'll clip that one, clip this one. I spin it on the back side. You get to your short side of the elbow. I'll flip it over. And I actually flip the U the other direction. And I do that for whenever I tape the seams. It just keeps it more uniform and looks pretty. At this point, it's on there. And at this point, I scrunch the tubing together, scrunch it at the top. You'll see you have a gradual, where it expands a little bit. And at this point, I take a tape, stick on the tubing, on the seam. I tape both sides of the seam, put this down, tear it off. I don't want to cover the elbow because you can't pivot it at that point anymore. At the top where the tubing comes together, I take this and it catches both. Doesn't cut you and it maintains a good line on the tape. I like to cover the clips so no light escapes. No bugs can enter or anything like that. I cover it and cover about half. Pull it down. Cover the edge. At this point, this is my wide point. My clips are pointing down. I'll pull this about 1.5 foot off of tape. Cover that. It covers where I drug it down so the tape can't pop off. Spin it to this side. Pull it up. Sometimes you can catch the uphill clip. At that point, I caught that one, so now I gotta cover this one. Pull that off. And yeah. I'll cover the clip. I don't like to leave I like to cover the whole clip. So I'll do the uphill side first always. This seam on the tubing where it meets the elbow, I don't worry about it. It will get covered whenever you tape the elbow to secure it on whatever angle you're going with. Cover that. Flip the elbow over and then you catch both pieces and again the top piece. And it just makes it look uniform. So this is the first piece of tubing, and whatever length you determine your tunnel it needs to be, you just keep building your tunnels the same way. So next piece, same thing. Your kit's coming with enough to build a 6-foot tunnel. So with the one piece of tubing and the 2 elbows, you'll have enough clips. This particular tunnel will be 10 feet long. So you had to buy more tubing.
And those tubings come in 2-foot extensions?
Yep, 2 foot. You can buy single piece tubing or a box of 12. And again, at my next piece of tubing, the seam is right here. It's offset of the elbow seam. This seam will be offset of that piece of tubing. So again, I opened it up. You can look across and line up your rectangles. The piece of tubing is expanded right now, so I'll hold that one towards me so I can see it. I put the clips down again, just again, maintaining uniformity. Work my way around the tubing. This one you can go with all the clips pointing down because you don't have any other seams to worry about. So I'll do that, scrunch it together, set it on the ground. I like to put my foot on the edge of the tunnel so it doesn't turn over whenever I push it. And it takes a little bit of the stress off the elbow. So I'll do that again, catch the seam on the top. Piece of tape doesn't affect the light coming through the sun tunnel. It's reflective too. So I'll do that. On the first piece of tubing, or two pieces of tubing that are connected, I like to catch the lip or the edge of it, and I leave the top part of the rectangle exposed. Typically I'll just do half of it or as far as you can reach, spin it around. I do the first layer. And press that tape down so it gets a good stick. And then the next one I'll overlap about half and catch those clips. So again, no light can escape, bugs can enter, or anything like that. Make sure all your tape's pressed down. Tubing sometimes kind of has a little bit of oil on it, so. Then you step up to your next piece of tubing. And again, I always like to start with the seam facing away from me so none of the seams are lined up. Take my last piece of tubing on the downhill part of the tunnel. Keep my fingers out of the tunnel. Open the tunnel up again. Always take it, hold the seam. Scrunch the tunnel back together.
And you like to do the double taping instead of using the self-tapping screws to lag in the next piece? Or the tape?
Yeah, I like to, because if you just run one piece of tape, it doesn't really catch both seams or the clip, and you'll notice if you just do it, you'll have a little bit of light escape, and anywhere there's light, you could have bug intrusion, and you're missing out on the light that should be traveling down your sun tunnel. So we like to use two layers of tape, and again, sometimes you'll have oil on the tubing, so it just ensures you don't have any malfunctions.
Now that the tube is done, we're going to go ahead and get it out of the sun so you're not reflecting down light. Go ahead and move it. And we're going to go up on top of the roof, and we're going to do the flashing in the dome and bring down the tubing into the home.